every time I have made this, Jesse has told me that he thinks I should vlog it and share it with you guys because it's good. That being said, I am making Fathead pizza dough to make Fathead pizza, which I know sounds very strange, but it's a low-carb version of pizza, and since I have the lovely gestational diabetes, I have to, you know, watch the stuff that I do, so it was a way for me to still have one of my absolute favorite foods that I've been craving this entire pregnancy, but not have to worry about it so much. Like, I do worry about it still, it's fine, but I mean, you can't eat a whole pizza, but like, this is, it works well, and your numbers come out really good. Even people who don't have this problem, obviously, have raved about it. So I was going to show you how I do it, and I got something on my glasses, and maybe you might want to try it too, because it really is good. It's not funky tasting, it's not gross, but it's something you might want to try. So what I have here is 3 cups of mozzarella cheese, and then 4 tablespoons of cream cheese, which is basically half a block, and then you cut it into the 4 just so it works easier because you're gonna melt it. Some people I've seen use more cream cheese, but I did try that last time and I really didn't care for how it turned out. So I personally feel, you know, that 4 tablespoons is more than enough. The other ingredients are 1.5 cups of almond flour, or you can use coconut flour. Totally not sponsored, but it's the kind that I use because it's the cheapest one. Almond flour and coconut flour can get pretty expensive, so I just use the Walmart brand. This is coconut flour right here. Personally speaking, I like the almond flour better, and like when you're like eating the pizza, you don't taste like nutty flavor. However, with the coconut flour, you do get a little bit of a sweeter dough. It doesn't taste like coconut, but the dough is sweeter, so I say no. 1.5 cups of almond flour, and then 2 eggs. A lot of people just put the eggs in and then, you know, mix them up. I personally like to mix them up beforehand because it's easier to incorporate. What is you put this in the microwave, cream cheese and mozzarella, and you melt it down. You obviously don't want to scald it, but I do it for about 2 minutes, and then I see how the consistency is, and then if it's not good, then I put it back in. But you just want to melt it enough, and then I'll show you the rest. So the one thing about this dough is that it is actually legit. Like, when you touch it, it's legit like a pizza dough. It's not weird feeling at all. So it gives you that chew that you want for pizza. I mean, obviously not the chewy like the yeast based pizza dough, but it does give you enough of that so that you're, you know, not feeling like you miss out. So what I put on it is sauce, and unfortunately I don't have the net carbs to tell you what it is. There's places you can look it up with the exact recipe, but so I use this for sauce because it's the no sugar added, and then we put cut up meatballs on ours. So again, none of this is sponsored, so any of the brand names that you see, just understand and ignore it. It's not sponsored. So and what I like to use to stir the cheese mixture is definitely a silicone spatula. You don't want to use a wooden spoon because it likes to stick on the wooden spoon. Learned that really quick too. And another tool, very first time I made it, I did not put parchment paper down. Big fat no. You want to put parchment paper down, or if you have one of those silpat mats like I do, make sure you put that down because it helps so that the pizza dough doesn't stick. Because first time I made it, it stuck to our pizza pan and I couldn't get it off. It sucked really bad, so we were kind of like picking the pizza off the pan. So like you can see, it's melted around the edges. However, I'm thinking it's definitely, yeah, see, you can see how I'm stirring it and how it's melty on the sides, which is exactly how you want it. But see how it is in the middle and it's you could still see the grating and stuff. You don't want that. So I'm going to mix this a little bit and then I'm going to stick it back in the microwave for probably about 20-30 seconds just to get it to be like this side. The other thing that I like to do is I do like to season the crust a little bit. So I put a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder in it. It just gives it a nice flavor. I would say if you are a measurement fiend, I would say probably like a half a teaspoon of both. But if you just want to eyeball it, like, I don't know, like you see palming it, that's what I would say about that, which is probably about the same size. So but put that in the almond flour. Don't put that into the cheese mixture. Make sure that goes into the almond flour. Oh yeah, you can already see that it's a lot better. Okay, so you're gonna mix this up completely and you want it to look very sticky like this because that's the part that contains like the dough aspect, but you want to make sure that the cream cheese is completely incorporated. You don't want to see like chunks of cream cheese everywhere. This looks perfect. This is when it starts getting gooey and sticky. So again, I have 2 eggs in here that I've already scrambled up. So we're going to put them in here. Come on. Okay. And then we're going to mix that up. Only half. And the one thing I can tell you is definitely when you start to notice that the cheese mixing in with the flour, if you do notice that it's getting a little bit crumbly, you definitely want to stick it back in the microwave for like 20 seconds or something just to warm it back up so that it's not hard to work with, because you do want to incorporate all of this, and by the time that you're done mixing, it should definitely look like pizza dough. There should be no like, you know, how this has multi-colors and stuff. You just want it to look the same color as the almond flour. And I will tell you, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it will get crumbly. You will have to put it back in the microwave. So don't feel like you failed or something crazy because you had to put it back in. It's just, you know, you're working air into it and the air is cooler than what the cheese was. So, you know, see, as you can see, it's starting to get crumbly. So I'm going to have to put it back in. And like I said, it's very, very sticky. But as you can see, it's starting to become very dough-like, which is what you want. That's exactly what you want. You want it to start balling up like that. Alright, so that is looking pretty good. Wet your hands, okay? Clean your hands obviously before you do this, but wet your hands. If you don't wet your hands, it will stick. So that's what I'm talking about with the silpat mat. And I just make sure to grease this part here and grease this part here so that it helps a lot. Okay. Alright. Wet hands. See? Not wet enough. It's already sticking. See how much better? And you will have to wet them probably a couple of times during the process of flattening your dough. And I would say this size is equivalent to the size of a large pizza, probably, because we always have leftovers. But you can, put it out to the thick or thin that you want. Ours is in the middle of being thick and thin. Yeah, see, already getting sticky again. Alright, just a little bit more around the sides. Alright, the next part is you want to poke it. If you don't poke it, then you're going to run into the problem of it not rising. So you want to poke it pretty good everywhere, because you need to aerate the dough. Oops, caught the hole. You don't want to poke it that hard. That's pretty much it. And you're going to put this in the oven for about 8 minutes, and I'll show you. It browns up and everything and bubbles up, and then you're going to top it and then put it in for another 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how done you want it. But I do it for the full 8 minutes, and it doesn't give it a crunchy crust or anything. It just gives it a done crust. So we're gonna put it in the oven. So obviously, if you were going to want to make 2 pizzas, you could use 1 block of cream cheese for the 2 pizzas, and then just double the flour, double the eggs, and double the mozzarella. Now I'm going to do up the meatballs, and cheese is all ready to go. I'm going to put the cream cheese away, and we will dress the pizza. So now I'm going to cut up the meatballs and then get them ready to put on the pizza, because the dough is almost ready to come out. I think it's time to get the dough out, so let's do it. Alright, so there it is. And you can see the edges are browned and there's bubbles everywhere. But that's okay. That's what you want. Let's get that out. So see? Total pizza crust right there. And it has browned areas. It's completely firm. It's not sticky anymore. Hot, but not sticky. But it's there, and can't really tell over here, but ouch, hot. So we're gonna put the sauce on and then put the meatballs on. Now we wait 8 more minutes for my crazy hair to get crazier. And then it's done. So if you want to try it, I think you'd like it. And I will show you it when it's done. I'll get the mozzarella off of my shirt and clean up. So see you in a few minutes. Alright, time to get it out. So, as you can see, the crust is completely done. Let me shut the oven so I don't like have heat stroke. The crust is completely done. My finger looks massive on screen, but it's really not. See? Or not. But completely done crust right there. So there you have it. Fathead pizza. Super easy. I think the whole process takes like a total of 30 minutes from make, dress, and bake. Like, that's it. So 30-minute dinner. Isn't that what Rachel Ray does? 30-minute dinners? Anyway, alright. There you go.